Let's go in. I need to start recording. Okay. All right, you're up.
All right, well, thanks, Adam. We appreciate all your help from a technology standpoint and getting us together today. So really happy to be here today with my friend and colleague, Chris Burns, the Director of Energy Services. I'm Jennifer Green, and I'm the Director of Sustainability and Workforce Development here at BED. And Chris, this is our second Energy Coach session.
Very excited to be here with you, Jennifer.
Thank you. And so for folks that didn't join us the last time, we talked a lot about heating and cooling. We talked about heat pumps in particular and the application of heat pumps, et cetera. So if you missed that and you want to learn a little bit more about that, that information or the link is on our website. But today we're going to be talking about weatherization because it is indeed that time of year. So we invite folks to send any questions to the chat, whether it's about weatherization or any of your sort of energy questions or needs. We're here for you, our customers, to help guide you through any topic that pertains sort of to energy and energy in your home or business. But again, today we're specifically focused on weatherization. So Chris, why now? Why here it is in September? Why did we decide that weatherization was a good topic for today's Energy Coach session?
So I think a couple reasons. The first session we did, we really focused on air conditioning and dehumidification. And for folks who watched that or want to go back and watch it, we kind of got into the weeds of how buildings work, and we talked about how weatherization helps in both summer and winter, kind of like a Yeti or a thermos bottle. And we thought, well, let's do the next one when we start thinking about the heating season. You and I are both wearing our BED sweatshirts for a reason. And I think it was 45 degrees outside when I got up yesterday. So good timing here.
So Chris, I know, we talk a lot about weatherization, and we know that, it can mean simple steps, it can mean really elaborate stuff. So would you give us sort of a trajectory? Say if you just want to do some simple things at home on your own time using, buying your own supplies, what might that look like? And then let's talk a little bit more about stuff that gets more elaborate for a homeowner or property owner.
Yeah, so just a little background as to why things work the way they do in the weatherization space. So maybe just a little definition about what that is. And
Yeah.
Weatherization may seem a little weird, but it's basically recognizing that when a lot of our homes were built, decades ago, energy was pretty inexpensive. Climate concerns were not, where they are today. Comfort was just, we were willing to be a little bit more uncomfortable. And so these buildings were built, they were built very, very well, a lot of them, but the cavities that are inside your walls or up in your attic, either don't have any insulation or could use more insulation. And there's also a lot of nooks and crannies in our beautiful old buildings that allow air to move freely through. We call that air change rate, or you can call it air leakage, you can call it drafts, but we have ways now of measuring it with some of our equipment. And what we have found is that if you safely do it, you reduce most buildings to a certain level, you will have a huge impact on the energy bills and comfort, both winter and summer. So with that said, where's the important stuff? And, as we were getting ready for this meeting, Jen, we were talking about, how to keep it not abstract and make it really meaty and useful for people who have limited times, limited budgets, and are trying to figure this out. So when a professional energy auditor or weatherization contractor comes into one of, Burlington building or any Vermont building or any building, typical building around the United States, they've already come in knowing a few things. They know the energy intensity of the building because they've asked you, the homeowner, hey, can you share your energy bills with me? I'll get your square footage, and I'm going to do a little calculation, kind of like miles per gallon on a car. And I want to know where your building sits from a heating perspective, a hot water perspective. I want to know what I'm up against when I walk in. And that gives me an idea of, where I need to go look. I want to know the age of your heating system, because that's going to tell me how efficient it is. And you'll notice that where these folks spend most of their time, if you've ever had an audit done, they're going to spend a lot of time in your attic, and they're going to spend a lot of time in your basement. And the reason for that is that's where the action is. That's where, if you want really good work done and you really want to get a good bang for your buck, your energy dollar, that's where the work has to be done in most buildings, not all, but they're going to focus on your attic hatches, your attic, making sure that's weather stripped. It's one of the most important doors in your house. So weather stripping your attic hatch, your attic door, making sure the back of it's insulated. If you have a Bilco door that leads from your basement outside, they're going to really focus on that, because if you can stop the air leakage from leaving the top of the building, every amount that leaves the top, an equal amount comes in somewhere lower. And we call that the chimney effect. If you can stop the chimney effect or slow it down, ooh, can you change how a building behaves?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. That's really good background science on sort of the specifics of weatherization. So you talked about these two key places in your home. Curious what a homeowner might do and at what point they might want to pull in a professional.
Well, I'll go back to understanding what you're up against. So, we're very fortunate in Burlington. We have a lot of metered energy data. So we know all the kilowatt hours that go through your meter, and we can pick that down for you and have a good discussion about how much electrical energy you use. Our colleagues at Vermont Gas, which 95% of our buildings in Burlington are heated by natural gas, they can do the same. And you can get a really good picture of, all right, how am I doing relative to other buildings you energy folks have seen? Some people say, how are new buildings doing? If I were a brand new home meeting all the codes and going through all the programs, where do I compare it to that? And then you can say, ooh, I have got some room here. I have got some opportunity. And for buildings that tend to be high energy use, further finished square footage, the occupants pretty much know it. The places tend to be drier in the winter. They're drafty. They're uncomfortable. You certainly don't like paying the higher energy bills. But then you're going to say, okay, the numbers are indicating that I need some professional help. But the good thing there is the energy audits don't cost you any money, additional money, at least in Burlington. And between BED and Vermont Gas, we have some fabulous incentives and loans that can really help make it affordable and possible.
Thanks, Chris. So it sounds like the first thing that you're suggesting is get a handle on one's energy data. And it sounds like you broke up a little bit, but I think you said that 95% of the heating load is covered by Vermont Gas. So 95% of the properties in Burlington depend on natural gas for heating. So you'd certainly call Vermont Gas if you didn't have a clear picture on how your building was performing. And then, of course, from an electricity standpoint, you'd call BED. And then are you suggesting, depending on what you learn from these two utilities, you might call a professional auditor to come in and do a walkthrough? Would that be the next step?
Yeah, that's typically the next step. Folks can get on the Vermont Gas Systems website, and they do a very nice job of allowing you to walk yourself through, understand their process, how to enroll, what your usage is, and you can get a lot done on their website if you primarily heat your house with natural gas. If you don't, if you're oil, propane, electricity, or wood, hop on the Burlington Electric website and we'll help you the same way. Not to confuse things, but we do have buildings that are a little bit of both. They have some natural gas and some something else. Well, EED and Vermont Gas, through our Energy Champ program, work together in the background, and if one of us will work to make financial assistance for both utilities if you use a couple different kinds of heating, which is not atypical. We've got folks that have electric resistance baseboard, but most of the house is done with natural gas. So if you're what we call a hybrid heater, don't worry, we're here to help.
Great, thank you so much, Chris. And for those of you that are just joining us, my name is Jennifer Green, and I'm here with my colleague Chris Burns, and we're talking about weatherization. And as folks mentioned, or as Chris mentioned, folks should go to the VGS website, the Vermont Gas Systems website. There's a lot that you can glean from going online, and if you need to give them a call, do, to find a little bit more out about your heating and your heating load, as 95% of the units or properties in Burlington do depend on natural gas. So Chris, you mentioned you get a contractor and maybe do a walkthrough. So I'd be curious, sort of what are some simple things that maybe a homeowner might do on their own versus sort of what a contractor would come in and do to really tighten up that house and make sure it's as efficient as possible. Cool in the summer, warm in the winter.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with, not the most exciting stuff, but whenever we're thinking about tightening up our homes, even if we're not going to tighten them up, we want to make sure that we're safe. So you want to make absolutely sure that if you have, a boiler or a furnace, that a professional has looked at that, within the last couple of years at least. And they're looking at the whole system, the boiler, furnace, the burner, the chimney, the venting, everything looks good. You want to make sure you've got good, healthy carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. These things, are lifesavers, property savers, and you really want to just make sure that's taken care of. After that, it's I invite folks to go check out the EPA's Energy Star website. They do a really nice job talking about weatherization in our climate zone, the New England or the northern tier climate zone. And they talk a lot about the importance of attics and basements, but they give some really nice tips about how a homeowner could weatherize their attic hatch. That's a do it yourself thing. You can do it if you're reasonably handy. You can weather strip your Bilco door going outside if you have one in your basement. You can caulk things, you can foam things, penetrations, plumbing and electrical penetrations. There's a really nice depiction on our website. Vermont Gas has the same, Energy Star has the same, that basically gives the homeowner an idea of what to look for and where to go first. If you've got a Saturday afternoon, you've got a couple cans of foam, you're in an old house, you know it's leaky. These either videos or sketches will show you, look at that pipe going through my box sill outside. I got a big hole around it, and I can feel with the back of my hand air gushing through that on a morning like this morning. Well, there's the stack effect. There's the idea that the building is leaking more air than it needs to, and that may be a good penetration to take your foam out and seal it up. Also helps keep critters out of your house too.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So it sounds like there are lots of resources online. You broke up a little bit there, but I think you had talked about the EPA website for some nice videos that can walk property owners through some simple steps in order to do it themselves. So on that note, maybe I should mention that we have a $50 gift card to our friends downtown at the Ace Hardware across from City Hall Park. This $50 gift card will go to the raffle winner who visits our website, and when they go to the Energy Coach page, they'll see a talk section where they can input on how they're planning to do their weatherization work this winter. So even if it's a simple step or you've made a pledge to hire a contractor to do the work, we want to hear from you, and we want to enter you in that raffle prize. So great, Chris. So can I ask you about windows? I know there's this misnomer. I'm going to replace my windows. They're, single pane and rattly, and isn't that the thing I need to do?
Well, the window people won't like this, but this is not me personally speaking. This is the training I've received. This is the training that most energy specialists receive. You would get the same answer from Vermont Gas's folks. You get the same answer from Efficiency Vermont's folks. I think even that EPA Energy Star website would say the same thing. Yes, windows leak. Yes, windows use energy, but heat loss or cooling gain in buildings is a function of surface area. The bigger the surface area, the quicker the stuff happens. So your attic, for example, is a lot more surface area than all your windows in a typical home. And so you really want to put your first money where it's easiest to have the biggest bang for the dollar, and that typically is the attic. So if you need more insulation up there, that's a better use of money than replacing a window, because even your single pane window that's a little rattly with maybe a triple track metal storm out there, the difference between it and even a really, really good window, though it will save energy, the payback on that at natural gas costs right now are 25 years, if not higher, because the cost of doing it is so high relative to the energy savings that it is not a particularly good money decision. But there are so many reasons you want to replace windows. We just don't want folks spend all their money on windows when they should have really gone after the sidewalls, the basement, and the attic if they really wanted to solve their energy problem. So we're just trying to give good objective advice about, where your dollars should go. But they shouldn't go to windows first unless those windows are in horrible, horrible shape.
Right. Okay, good. Thanks for that, Chris. Because I know folks tend to think it's the go-to place. You start with your windows and then you sort of work up or down. But you're really saying start with your attic, start with your basement, and see what happens there. And it's quite likely most of your weatherization needs will be addressed, either the top or the bottom of the house, essentially. So, Chris, we have a net zero energy strategy in Burlington. So essentially, we're looking to electrify the heating sector to the extent that we can. We're getting a lot of information, a lot of inquiries around heat pumps, but we're not suggesting that folks just sort of go out and heat pump without thinking about weatherization. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the interplay, say, between somebody who wanted a heat pump and the need to weatherize a home?
Well, it's a great question. So we would love folks to do both if they need to do both or want to do both. We would love to have a conversation with somebody who says, I don't know, what's my best path? I can't afford to do everything at once, so how should I sequence it? We had a lot of folks over the summer when things got really hot and muggy who were thinking of buying some type of air conditioning equipment and saw that we were offering some really nice rebates through our green stimulus programs, and took good advantage of that. So the next step for those folks would be, all right, let's have a conversation about are there opportunities to weatherize their home that's now partially natural gas, partially electric heat pump, and hopefully we can help you out. Not everybody needs weatherization. We can help you determine if there's opportunities or not. But because we have such old housing stock in Burlington, some very beautiful stuff, very well built stuff, there are a lot of opportunities to button our homes up. And we just think that's smart, right? I mean, we don't want to do anything on the energy side where we're wastefully using any energy, whatever that energy is. And we would like to drive the heating and cooling loads down through weatherization while we're also trying to drop fossil fuel usage, through our heat pump programs. And we think it's very responsible to do both. So we're trying to stand up programs that help our customers do that. So we're here to have those conversations, and we do have incentives and loans to help folks with all of this.
Yeah, that's great, Chris. Thank you. Because I think there's some question out there as to how the two intersect, and certainly they do. Hey, Chris, we have a question in from our friend John. John is asking for quote unquote efficient use of electric baseboards. So do you want to answer that as you see fit? Thanks, John. And anybody else that has questions, please feel free to go to the chat.
Yeah, thank you, John. I think I'll answer it a couple ways. I mean, in really, really good buildings, meaning they're very well weatherized, very tight, electric resistance baseboards, which have been around forever, can be a effective backup heating source. And when I say that, we have 6 multifamily buildings, for example, that have been built over the last 5 or 6 years. And each apartment has a heat pump in it, and very good heat pumps. But the concern was, if the temperatures get too cold for too long, will the heat pump be able to provide enough heat for the tenants? So an electric baseboard strip under the heat pump, and a control is on it that says the electric resistance heat can't come on until it gets below -5. It's a really nice backup source in a very well weatherized building, and these new buildings are some of the best we've seen. They're way above the required code. They paid incredible attention to detail on the shell of the building where the insulation and the air sealing is. And we're seeing that they're performing beautifully. We're not seeing that electric heat come on, but it's there as a backup in case we get into a really nasty cold spell. So that's kind of the new construction perfect application. To use it as the primary heating source, if the building is not exceptionally well weatherized, the cost will be phenomenal. You just wouldn't want to do it over a heat pump, because a heat pump is going to be, 2 to 3 times more efficient than electric resistant heat. And what's attractive about electric resistance is it's so cheap to install relative to your other options, but it is still the most expensive to operate. So not a good primary heat source. We think people will be very disappointed with their electric bill if you do it. And some of the state energy codes don't allow it for all of those reasons.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So, yeah, John, I hope that was helpful. And as John did, I want to encourage others to put their questions in the chat. For those of you that are just joining us, I'm here with Chris Burns. Chris is the Director of Energy Services. I'm Jennifer Green. I'm the Director of Sustainability and Workforce Development at BED, and we are doing our second energy coaching session, virtual obviously, talking about weatherization. Chris, maybe I can just quickly make a plug for our third session, which is October 2nd. It looks like it's noon, and the topic is EVs. And we've timed this, this particular session, our third coaching session, to coincide with Drive Electric Vermont Week. So we hope you'll join us for that. But in the meantime, we're back to weatherization. So Chris, people want to know about, like, all right, I know my home or building will be more comfortable, but how much do I really have to spend for that comfort? And I realize there's a huge range. Do you want to shed some light on money or not? Tell us sort of how would you answer a question that a homeowner posed to you about how much I might have to spend for this work?
So that's that really good question, because most of us are, we've got budgets and we want to make good decisions. So if you are in a house, a typical single family home built turn of the century, and you have no insulation and you're leaky as can be, you're probably looking at somewhere around $7,500 to have a professional contractor come in and blow insulation into your sidewalls, take care of your attic, and do all of that air leakage work that we talked about, make sure your health and safety stuff is taken care of. We're not replacing windows and doors. We may be weather stripping some of the bad ones. We're not replacing your heating system. We may put in really good bathroom exhaust fans to help get moisture out of the house a little quicker now that the house is going to be tighter. But that's a building that really needed some help. If the building is pretty well insulated and you just maybe need a little bit more insulation up in the attic, but they need to do a lot of air sealing, then you may be looking at half of that. If you're a rental property owner and you've got a 6-7 plex and it needs a lot of work, you may be looking at $10,000. The range can be pretty big depending on what we find in the buildings. But remember, right now Vermont Gas is offering 50% off owner occupied and 75% off for rental property owners. So that's a pretty good deal. And for BED, if you're electric, propane, or oil, we help 60% owner occupied, 75% for rental. If you're a hybrid, meaning you've got a little Vermont gas and a little something else, the two utilities get together and we give you the same rebate. You just may get a incentive check from both of us. But we take care of all of that behind the scenes, so you don't have to deal with two utilities. One of us takes the lead and represents the other. So it can be a very nice package. So, you know, you combine the rebates and you combine the home energy loan program, which Burlingtonians participate in. You can look at Vermont Gas. Customers can participate under certain conditions in the home energy loan program. And Vermont Gas is a very nice zero interest program with Green Mountain Credit Union. So a lot of this can happen with no out-of-pocket costs, and a lot of technical assistance, finding contractors, letting you know what's happening, doing the inspections. Very nice turnkey service for a lot of folks in Burlington.
Yeah, that's great, Chris. So it seems like the big takeaway there is 75% covered, essentially, if you're a multi-family property owner, and 50%, up to 50% if you're a single family occupant.
Yes.
So that's some significant money.
Absolutely.
Chris, have a question in the chat. You had talked a little bit about humidity and humidity in bathrooms. So curious how removing the humidity from the bathroom with a ceiling fan can help you keep a home warmer and tighter.
Well, I'll answer it this way, and I apologize if I'm not understanding the question fully. But Vermont Gas and BED have been working in tandem for a long time, where we want higher efficiency ventilation equipment to go into buildings, save electricity. Vermont Gas, through their weatherization program, when they go in and they tighten up homes, the air change rate goes down a little bit, and you may discover, oh no, my bathroom that didn't fog up or didn't have condensation now does, because I don't have as much air running through the building. That's not a bad thing. A bathroom exhaust fan that's vented to the outside, that's sized properly, that has a good exhaust vent, can solve all your moisture problems in a bathroom, so that moisture doesn't cause trouble. We've all seen what happens in bathrooms that don't have a lot of condensation and don't have a way to get the moisture out of there. So it's just a way of saying, okay, really good to drop the air change rates in a leaky building. We don't drop them so low that they're unsafe, but we may have to balance some good ventilation in there to get the moisture out of bathrooms more quickly. And it just keeps the building in balance a little bit better. I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, that was a great answer, because I think it may sound counterintuitive to be pulling humidity out while we're trying to tighten up the house to keep it warm in winter, cool in summer, but there's a balancing act, as you say.
Absolutely, and it's not like a bathroom exhaust fan is powerful enough to exchange the whole house. It's just a spot ventilator that's going to deal with the excess moisture from, for those of us who have teenagers who like to shower by the hour, that's just way too much moisture, and we need the place to move quicker, or the bathroom's going to have trouble.
Right, great. Well, Chris, before I turn it over to you to say any last thoughts that you have that we want to share with our customers, I want to make a plug again for Downtown Hardware. They've offered us a $50 gift certificate to a customer who wants to go to the BED website and visit that Energy Code section. You'll see a tab where you can put in your plans for weatherization this winter. We'll do a random drawing for somebody to win that gift card. So thank you so much to our partner Downtown, again, right across from City Hall Park. And lastly, a plug for the October 2nd. What's up with EVs? We're going to be talking about EVs for that Energy Code session. That will be our third. And now, Chris, it's almost top of the hour. Is there anything you want to say that wasn't covered that folks need to know about regarding weatherization before we wrap it up?
No, just to reiterate, really want folks to be safe. If your budget's tight, your first dollar should go towards that smoke detector, that carbon monoxide detector. Make sure the heating system is inspected by a professional. And then we can have a really good conversation about what's next for you. The websites are constantly changing, and I think very helpful for both utilities that share Burlington. The Energy Star website, they've put a lot of good science that's digestible about how buildings work. So I encourage folks to go and get educated on that. And then when you do go through an audit, or you do have to make a decision whether you want to invest in some weatherization on your property, you're going to feel like you're a more informed consumer. It's going to make more sense to you. So I would encourage people to take advantage of the information that's out there, and know that we're here to help. I mean, we have a really strong interest in dropping energy loads as cost effectively as possible for the betterment of Burlington and Vermont and the planet. So we're here to help.
Great, Chris. Well, those are perfect parting words. So maybe I'll just end by saying thank you so much to Chris. Thanks to Adam, who was our technical support this afternoon. And again, we're really here. We're so committed to our customers. We're here to help. If this session was helpful to you, we hope you'll share the link. And if there are topics that you'd like us to cover next time, don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. We want to do well by our customers. So thanks to everyone. Hope you have a good afternoon, and come back, visit us for the third energy coaching session in October. Take care, everyone.